Okay, so because Susanna's under the weather, her involvement in the recap will be limited at best. So I am actually very excited to hear about the recap. So I'll let you guys go ahead and take the reins and talk about the things that Paul missed in his absence, and then I'll kind of explain anything that you guys miss that was critically important. And then once the recap is over, we will go ahead and talk about the things we think or want to happen in this session. But let's go ahead and get started.
Why don't I kick it off with the last thing I remember?
Hey, that'd be great.
Okay, so the last thing I remember, I mean, okay, there was a giant siege on Treetop, basically. The very last thing I remember is that we were going to carry, oh my god, I forgot her name, the conduit lady, the ward lady. Yes, we're gonna carry her on the giant stone slab she was in her comatose ward state in, because we didn't know how else to get the hell out of this giant burning tree fort that we were in Tree City. So we lifted it up by accident, found the thing we need, and that's kind of where we ended session, is us making our daring escape out of a giant burning city with this giant stone slab and resting ward woman on it. And that was pretty much the last thing I remember. I remember something happening with Beldam. She was in also some comatose or like sleep-like state, but I don't know what the hell that was all about.
The tincture of eye drops that you got from Grills, so that she could communicate with Lena. That's what
Right, she was in
you
the
dropped
middle of
those.
doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
Okay.
where we ended session.
Okay. Well, then let's have the grand recap.
Okay, so
Don't. I was gonna say, don't everybody speak up at once.
I'll go first. So it started with treetops burned down, and all the people are now living in the port section of the town, and that's where we kind of start with like the new day. But it turns out, even though we have the soul gem and the horn, it's not enough. We also have to acquire a pearl of midnight to bind the soul gem to the horn, because there's stuff about them having tried before without a pearl of midnight and it didn't work. So we need to do that while our group who was here was doing that. Udinar was going on some other mission with for Grills with Eldrick, and we don't know what that is yet. But they were off doing something else to prepare for bringing back Spira. Beldam eventually wakes up after 3 days of being unconscious. And she's acting a little weird. She doesn't put her blindfold back over her eyes. She's just sort of like in a state of shock. And she also asks about Lena's daughter and where she is when Grills shows up. We get moved into Latric's old house. That's sort of where we're staying, since we've got, Beldam, the now sole elder of Treetop. And then we decide to set off to find this Pearl of Midnight, and we go along with Pause, who accompanies us as like to fill out our party. Another druid. Beldam had a meeting about the letter she received about her family across the sea. Need to meet her. Yeah. So then we head out to a cave where a Pearl of Midnight is. And Pearls of Midnight are like, the big thing we know about them is they glow when the moon is out. So if all else fails, that should be a way to find one. And they're kind of like alive. So we find this cave where there are all these Naga approaching on these
Sahorgan.
Sahogan, right?
Sure.
Approaching on these basilisks, because the problem with this Pearl of Midnight, it's in a basilisk cave.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So, which is yes. So we did spend some time trying to figure out if we had a way to cure basilisk poison before we headed out. We really didn't. We had some basilisk blood, but no time to make an antidote potion or anything.
We killed the one person who would be able to.
God damn it.
Yeah, the Raspberrium would have been able
killed
to
the
do
apothecary.
Of course.
it. So yeah, we find this fight, and we sort of we go in on them, and we kind of like come in at them from the side while they're sort of distracted with the basilisks. We kind of take out their back line and cut through them. We get through the fight without any basilisks hitting us, of like clearing out the outside. And we also, in that fight, acquire a chest locked that they had with them, that presumably they were also here for a midnight pearl. So this chest will probably be, we assume, will be useful for us later, but we don't really know what is for, other than a way to carry the midnight pearl, presumably. We go in the cave. Also, we got some follower training. We had some fun with follower being around us. With where people were. That
Okay.
was fun times. People were not pleased about it.
Sure.
He hasn't killed anyone yet.
He
Okay.
hasn't killed anyone yet.
That was going to be my first question. Okay.
He's just a good boy.
So in the cave, things got worse. The cave was
Of course they did.
filled with basilisks, like just a lot of them. And as we sort of slowly made our way in, and then sort of got trapped inside, also as we started fighting them, our fight sort of unearthed the earth elementals, cutting off our escape, as also the water, so part of the issue with this cave is there are tides, and the tide is coming in and rising and flooding the cave. So that's also, so our way out is also slowly getting cut off.
Yeah.
And the other notable thing here is that Lavinia is using spells she hasn't really used before.
Okay.
So that gets weird, and the fight, it looks honestly pretty bleak at a couple spots where we're sort of cut off from each other, but we get through it by the skin of our teeth, except Beldam didn't actually ever get hurt somehow, but we got through it somehow. And then
she didn't get hurt as in like luck of the draw or story reasons.
Like somehow I managed to not be in a position the entire time where I took damage.
Okay. No, I just meant like mechanically you avoided it, or there was a story thing
this
where
was a first.
Okay, yeah.
I'm usually the first one down.
Yeah, and I'll kind of let Rumble go on from there.
Okay, so a small detail that was missed is the reason the earth elementals appeared was because Beldam threw a couple of fireballs and rattled the entire cavern.
Yeah.
Which awoke them from their slumber.
She does not learn. Does not learn.
So it was a little dicey, but everyone lived. We still had a bit of time before we had a full moon to try and find the pearl, but even so, we decided to search the cavern, see if we could find anything. Poking around as the water's rising, no one could really find anything. However, there was a deep cavern that kind of cut under the middle of the cavern that was full of water, with Egg not being able to handle water, and Paws apparently not being able to swim because he blew all of his wild shapes earlier on,
Okay.
so didn't have an aquatic form.
Uh-huh.
Beldam decides to go underwater. Thankfully, Paws was able to cast water breathing on everyone, so we didn't really have much of an issue. While underneath, Beldam tried to cast a light spell to hopefully get some sort of better visual, but for whatever reason, the light became blinding and filled the cavern. So something weird was going on there. No one really questioned it because no one really thought about it at the time, but it was mentioned before that being around the pearl does in some weird way warp magic.
Okay.
So cave gets flooded to the ceiling. Egg found a little a pocket that he could hide in where he wasn't underwater.
Basically, the fetal position.
Mhm.
Yeah. I had
Okay.
water walking shoes, just hanging out on top.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So as we do get some time looking around and to no avail, that is when the group starts questioning why Beldam is using spells she doesn't know before and why she's just acting weird in general.
Can you give me an
And
example of a
remember-
spell you haven't used before?
Well, it was
Bone of Cold.
And vitriolic sphere.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good spell.
It is a good spell.
So Petalin starts questioning, and knowing the jig is up, it is revealed that Beldam is no longer Beldam, but rather Lena possessing Beldam's body.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Okay.
And with that information uncovered, Beldam is now the mind locked inside of the ward.
Huh.
Clearly, the group is upset. Pause is kind of like,
Eh.
yeah, I figured.
Yeah. Okay.
But time was kind
Worth
of running
noting-
short.
Worth noting that Paws and Lena knew each other before Lena became a ward, which is why he had that like, yeah, I kind of figured.
So him basically nonplussed, the group upset, but clearly Lena had a significant advantage, having not been hurt at all, and everyone else on death's door for for leverage there. So begrudgingly, they all were kind of looking for the same thing and agreed to work together to find this pearl in the meantime. So cave ends up completely flooded. Through some more searching, we find that the pearl is embedded in the ceiling of that underwater cavern.
Okay.
However, any sort of metal or item that you try and put towards it kind of just melts away.
Huh. All right.
I guess I'll call her Lena now. Attempts to use the immovable rod to try and
Like
what
pry
was
it
it?
out.
We were trying to put a jar over it and put the immovable rod underneath it so it couldn't run away.
Okay. Yeah.
But as soon as she activates the immovable rod, with the crazy magic field around it, it apparently rolled for magic reversal. So it became the ever-moving rod
Oh no.
and jettisoned itself into space, I'm assuming, at this point.
So it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it is. Okay.
Yeah, thankfully no one got hurt.
I mean, one of you could have gotten hurt and kept the rod, is all I'm saying. But whatever.
I think the rod would have gone through them.
Yeah, ever moving doesn't sound like a thing. Getting in the way of it would stop.
I do wonder where it's going to end up now.
It went through the rock.
Yeah, it did go through like the cavern wall and just made a hole.
It's just exploding planets somewhere along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was super funny, but a shame of magic item loss.
Yeah.
So
Oh well.
after some
warned.
more, yeah, in the moment there was a lot going on. After some more putzing around and just trying different things to pull it out, no one could really grab onto it. It was like kind of gooey and embedded into the ceiling of this cavern.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we realized, oh, we still have that treasure chest that was locked from the beach, and we haven't really tried to open it. So we all regroup in Egg's little air pocket that he had created,
Okay.
and he opens up the portable hole in the wall to kind of give some more space to work in.
Okay. Sure.
Our group, lacking a rogue,
Yeah.
didn't really have any good way to open the chest that was locked.
Mm-hmm.
So we used an unconventional method by sticking something into the lock and smacking it real hard.
I was gonna say Egg smashed
To,
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So with a good thwack, breaks the lock and opens it up, and the group hears, I think Egg's dead. And all of us began to worry, as apparently an anti-magic zone was created by opening this chest and collapsed the portable hole.
I was gone for one session. You had one job and did not kill everybody before I got back.
No, we thankfully read it over, and no, it just ejects everything out of it when it collapses. So
Gotcha.
all of our belongings were scattered across into the water of this cavern.
Okay.
Including Egg.
Oh no. Oh, Egg. I'm so sorry.
So you
Egg
just
who
get-
could no longer walk on water or breathe underwater.
Yeah. So we had a fun time with that, but we realized what we had to do with the chest. In the meantime, knowing that Egg had some issue with water, Lena casts a spell and suggests that Egg gets over his fear of water.
Mm-hmm.
And for a short amount of time, he seemed to be just fine with water. I'm so glad you didn't make that save. In the meantime, Paws and Egg are collecting all the belongings back into the portable hole after we close the chest and get it out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Petalin and Lena then go back into the other underwater cavern and collect the pearl. Petalin goes underneath it and opens the chest and feels a plop into the box. And we decide to make our exit from the cave there. Back on the beach, we're like, well, are we sure we got it? And then someone opens the chest again.
Oh no.
And all our belongings are then scattered on the beach.
Oh. Okay.
So twice everything had to be recollected back into the portable hole, but I think we learned our lesson by that point. After a bit, the druids meet back up with us, and this is where Udinar does come back in. So these are events you ended up seeing in person. We present the pearl to the druids, and they ask who wants to blow the horn. During this time, Lena, and now the group knowing it was Lena, says Lena, and Eldrick is a little scared of it, hearing that name. He just kind of goes pale after hearing it, and immediately Lena questions Eldrick, where's our daughter? And getting sort of a non-answer there, they kind of move along with the ceremony. The, I guess, opportunity to blow the horn is presented, and Lena sort of forces it onto Eldrick, saying this is his supposed dream. Let him do it. So he then eats the pearl and then proceeds to blow the horn, and everyone can see as he kind of gets drained and ages a bit. I guess Eldrick is a full elf, right?
I thought it was a half elf.
He's a half elf.
Okay. So like it was a noticeable aging considering their lifespan,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
He-
After the
he
horn
went
is
from- he-
blown.
I would say he went from looking like a young adult, maybe in his mid 20s, to looking like somebody who could easily be, passing his 40.
Okay. So there was something there, so I'm glad none of the actual group volunteered to blow the horn. There's a kind of shift in the wind, and Grills tells everyone that it worked this time and that we just need to wait. We make our way back to Treetop Port, where everyone is staying at the former Lautrick estate, now estate of the Soul Elder. And we figure we'll sort things out in the morning. Everyone's a little worse for wear. Petalin chooses to camp outside with followers since he's not really allowed in the building with other people. And during the night, she notices that something is approaching from the ocean and realizes it is a giant tidal wave making its way towards shore. Announcing it and alerting everyone. The druids mobilize and roll out, telling anyone who can't turn into some sort of aquatic creature should get the hell away from here.
Makes
The
sense.
group then proceeds to try and help evacuate as many people as they can away from the shore, and kind of, I guess we were like going into whatever shambles were left of
Yes.
treetop above ground. Yeah. And waiting there, kind of watching this encroaching wave. As it gets closer to shore, everyone notices a split happen in the wave. And it misses Treetop directly, but still kind of forces on a bunch of water onto land. And during this time, a familiar ship that the group had encountered before comes kind of crashing into the tree that the group was hiding out on, and it was the wet dog.
Oh, okay.
A rope ladder, I'm guessing, is dropped down, and the group sees the familiar captain of the wet dog and a stranger that they have not met before. As they climb up, the captain and the stranger are chatting for a bit, and then stranger introduces himself to the group as Isaac Darby. Lena's kind of looking back and forth between Darby and Egg, and a little confused there. And then Petalin starts to say hello, and Darby is clearly disgusted by her eye
Yeah.
and
As
doesn't
most
hide
people
it.
are.
At this point, Darby takes a look at Egg and then gets closer to Egg, and uncomfortably close to Egg, and grabs his face
Okay.
and says, "Peter, is that you?"
Oh no. Okay.
And this is where we introduce Isaac Darby, the brother of Egg, who has been searching for Egg, as he said, for 2 decades now.
Okay. This I was not expecting at all, but okay.
And that's sort of where we left off on that cliffhanger of a new character introduction.
So you're playing a new character then?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Beldam is
Oh.
officially retired.
I
Yeah,
don't-
she's a ward.
Okay. She's a ward.
She was awarded her retirement.
Oh, god damn it.
I don't really have too much more to add other than obviously Lena split from the group in order to take up her role as the sole elder of Treetop and to presumably go in search of her daughter with Eldrick. It doesn't seem like we lost any villagers in the tidal wave, and big thank you to Udnar for carrying Follower like a baby up into the treetops so that he wouldn't drown down below. So
Wait, what?
Are you just retconning that now?
no, he did. You don't remember?
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, Follower can't swim, and Udnar's really strong, so he carried him like a big dog up into the trees with us so that he wouldn't drown. So
Why won't I
He's a
just
good
cast
boy.
water walking? Okay, whatever. It's fine.
There wasn't water yet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
besides, he'd still get swept away by the current. Rude.
Yeah. We didn't want to get hit by a wave.
He'd be miles.
He's our good boy.
Uh,
So anyway,
I
All right,
suppose
so-
one small detail that was passed up was in Beldam/Lena's meeting with whoever had sent the letter to Beldam. Some sort of agreement was made there.
but none of the rest of the party was privy or witness to that particular meeting. So
with the recap mostly finished, I do want to point out that that Pause nearly died. Actually, he was 2 death saves deep before he got brought back. So
Yeah.
that happened. But
He did.
I want
He
to.
didn't get to have to waste his tiger form or his cat form, where he transformed and then everyone was dead, and then he hung out and before I had to transform back
yes,
right before we
Um,
fought again.
Paul, I would like to open the floor. If you have any questions and would like clarification before the session starts.
Any
before we do
questions?
the,
I have so
just-
many.
Which
do your
I,
best.
I put you into the group chat where I wrote out a lot of what we needed to cover in the recap. So if there's anything you want to see again.
I do have one quick question. Looking over my spells, did you add one for me?
Did I?
I'm asking because this doesn't look
Oh.
familiar.
I don't I may have gone through and cleaned some stuff up because I was originally looking at what you had, but I don't think I changed much. If
I have
anything.
I have a druid spell in here, which is why I'm asking.
Oh, what spell?
Blight.
Oh no, that's a domain spell for you.
Oh, I just didn't have it entered, I guess.
Because I went through everybody's character sheets before the last main session to see if anybody was missing anything that they're supposed to have, and you didn't have your domain spells.
Gotcha.
Those are always prepped, and they don't count against your prepared limit.
Yeah, I usually have them with cleric in front, so I don't forget or I don't
I
miss
see.
that. Anyways, another thing, it's reasonable to assume I can change my spells around because I've had a long rest since.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I guess what the hell have I been doing?
Okay, so you were actually with Grills and Eldrick while they
Mhm.
prepped the horn and the soul gem for the ritual to summon Spira. So I actually wrote down something. Let me see here. So you assisted in the process by channeling the power of your deity and basically taking the soul that was inside the soul gem and putting it at rest. Like you basically tapped the energy inside of it and released the soul itself.
Okay.
Our poor
So-
red
so
shirt
th-
barbarian from
Yeah.
long
So
ago.
so Zan,
Yeah.
the soul that was inside the gem is like his soul has been passed on to your deity. And basically you took all of the energy from it and just kind of like pulled the wispy little like the skin off and were like, oh, here you go, and
Ugh.
tossed him into the stream. But while
Is
while
that kind of
storing
like
the
a
energy
last
itself.
rites sort of thing?
Yeah, as much as it could be. I mean, because
Okay.
it's literally a trapped soul, and
Yeah.
that's not something your character would be cool with.
No, totally.
So your participation was freeing the soul while keeping the energy with the assistance of Ronaviz, and basically otherwise assisting them in setting up the ritual itself.
Okay. Makes sense
Because
to me.
they needed the assistance of another powerful spellcaster.
Sure.
Between the three of you, probably, I mean, well, the three of you and Lena, but Lena was still playing coy. The strongest spellcaster is in, I don't know, like 1,000-mile radius.
Sure.
Shit.
So you guys prepped the ritual and set that up. That's what Udinar was doing.
Okay.
Anything
cool.
else?
I guess like we'll just see how it plays out now.
Sure.
I'll just have to get used to what the hell's going on here.
Right, and I mean I think that's fair because your character would have been out of it for like most of that as well, so he would have the same reaction. Other than that, let's do our usual and newer thing. I want to know what everybody's kind of predictions or desires are for this upcoming session. Just with the caveat of knowing that this session is intended to be the end of Fallout New Greyhawk Season 1. Like, we will be entering a new chapter of gameplay after this, if everything goes as I anticipate.
Cool.
Okay, so I think expectations start with me, don't they?
Sure.
So apparently we did it. We summoned Spira back. So I'm expecting that we maybe go check it out this game session, kind of see what all the fuss was about, and if we actually successfully brought back a large city that can support the area the way that we were hoping it could, with protections and things like that. So, or if it was all a huge mistake.
Darby's just happy to be here. I've had this character kind of in the works since November.
Good
So
lord.
we were sort of leading up to this. We had a couple of outs for Beldam that were not death. So we picked an unexpected third route with the whole possession thing.
Have you been playing a character you didn't want to play for 6 months?
No, I enjoyed her, but I felt like her time in general was sort of over. I felt that she didn't really have much of a motivation in the world. And I think that's just the consequence of we were going in blind and was sort of kind of molding around it, but I never felt like she was a good fit for what was going on.
Fair enough.
And then last session, I got to play a 9th level sorcerer through Lena. So that was new.
Yeah, Lena was a 9th level wild magic sorceress, and that's why he had access to Cone of Cold and Vitriolic Sphere.
Gotcha.
So
anything else?
Right now, Darby just kind of shows up, and all the group knows so far is that he's been looking for his brother, and he found him.
Right, but do you have any predictions or anything like that? Anything you anticipate will happen?
No, I have no idea what's going to happen now. We've been working on Spira since like session 2.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we even go from here.
Right, Homer?
Yeah, pretty similar to what just the thing of learning about what spirit it actually is and whether bringing it back seems like it was actually a good idea or not is the main thing from this session. And also I feel by the end of this, sort of figuring out the hints of like what we want to do next.
Okay.
I'll be right back. My landlord needs me to move my cart.
Okay. Paul?
I mean, a big thing just for me personally is just getting back into the swing of it, so that'll be an expectation for myself. In character, I want to learn more about this Isaac Darby fellow and exactly what his deal is. So probably want to see that a little bit in both mechanically when he plays him in a battle of some sort, and like find out more about Egg and what happened that separated them. I don't expect we'll see that this session, but it's a nice little end that we could tie up at some point, or at least like build upon. So that's cool. I don't have any predictions at all because I don't know what the fuck's going on at all. I guess my expectation is just getting back in the swing of things, finding out what we're going to be doing as a group, and just kind of pushing towards finding out more about Spira, because that seems like surreal that we're at a point where something actually happened with that storyline, which seemed huge.
Hey, things have been happening with that storyline since session 2.
I know, but like we're at this point now, and it seems weird.
All right. So with all that being said, I'm very excited for tonight's session. I have been looking forward to this session since session 2. I didn't know how we would get here. Actually, I'll take that back. I've been looking forward to this session since you guys stumbled ass backwards into solving the puzzle at the Temple of the Elements, which was a throwaway quest that I pulled out of my ass so that you guys could resurrect, or in this case, reincarnate Chain. The Temple of Elements was always going to be there, and it was something that I intended for much later, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to make that quest line work. And so ever since then, I have been looking forward to this. So I think tonight's session will be good for that. Jumping into the game.
I am back, by the way.
Jumping into the game, Darby has just climbed up to the ruins of Treetop from the wrecked wet dog, whereupon the captain will return to his deck. And because I didn't clarify this last time, you will see him greet the dog for which the ship is named, which the dog is fine.
I was concerned.
Other than that, he's going to set to making immediate repairs so that the ship doesn't sink. But there's now probably around 5 or 6 feet of water on top of ground level of what was there, and it doesn't seem to be quickly receding. In fact, you can still see there are like microwaves coming in from sea. And keep in mind, this is like a 20-minute walk or run from Treetop Docks. So it's a fairly significant distance for that. The tidal wave brought in that much water. First things first, you guys have an evening at the ruined tavern, which is now mostly burnt out, and almost every survivor is packed in. You know for a fact that basically everything at Treetop Port is probably submerged or at least flooded to some extent. So as far as how you guys are going to, make your evenings here, I'll leave it up to you. But you have your first evening as the new party of Egg, Darby, Pedalin, and Udanar. Lena has gone off to basically rally her people, and she is quickly and rather efficiently, you'll see, setting to work and fitting into her role as Elder of Treetop. She seems to know her way around the village incredibly well. She knows many people by name, which is startling to some of them because Madame Beldam certainly didn't know who these people were. And the way that Lena talks to them, she talks to them as though she's known them for years because she did. But things are quickly set in order. There's a bit of chaos at first, but she reins it in and has everybody kind of managing as best they can. The druids themselves are nowhere to be seen for the moment. So, in your first night, I'd like to ask you, what do you do?
So the tavern is packed, right?
Oh yeah, like feet to head to feet to head. People just laying down, trying to stay dry and rest.
Is there a table that's like occupied by people?
Most of the tables burned away, but most people are making use of what remains of the bar top space.
Okay, I'm gonna go up to the people at the bar and tell them to beat it
Huh.
because a celebration is in order, and I'm gonna be very assertive.
Okay. Make your assertive roll. That is quite assertive, and the shaken populace of Treetop is in no position to resist. They're exhausted, they're scared, and they're uncomfortable. And so when the terrifying pirate man comes waddling over, carefully stepping over, or I don't know, would you carefully step over the people trying to rest on the floor, or would you just step on them?
He wouldn't step on them.
Okay. Well,
He would like
maybe
kick and
stepping on
nudge him out of the way.
yeah, step on some hair by mistake. Anyway, through a rather noticeable path through the tavern, Darby seems to have cleared a space at the bar top for the group, as several people cast him a withering glare and shrink away, kind of filtering out to rest on the actual the walkways of ruined treetop.
Does follower still have his harness on?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna tie a little bit of rope to it, or does it have a leash on it?
I mean, it had like a leather leash, but it's not very long.
Okay, well, if Gunnar will just put him down, I'm just gonna make sure I'm holding on to the leash so that he doesn't get any ideas. And I'll go over to the bar top where Darby is.
Where is follower in this?
He's with me.
In the bar.
Why not?
Oh no. That's not like oh no. That's like oh no. That will not be allowed.
Fine. I will stay outside with follower so that he
Okay.
doesn't eat anybody. But somebody better bring me a nail.
You are absolutely being actively guarded by some of the surviving armed members of Treetop. You have many cold stares looking at what all of the locals perceive to be a monstrous beast that has terrified and ravaged the grounded locals for years.
Paint a picture, it'll last longer.
Okay.
Egg, tell that brother of yours to bring me an ale.
Got it. Will do.
Don't you worry, follower.
After clearing the space, Darby's gonna like turn back, say, be like, "Come, sit. We have a lot to talk about. You too, big one."
Egg goes in.
Okay. And Udonar?
I was muted. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
So
And Egg tells
Udonar and Egg.
Darby to go get Petalin a ale as soon as he gets there. As soon as he sits down or whatever,
Mhm.
finds a spot.
And something like take an ale to the lass outside, or take an ale to Petalin.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I haven't heard a confirmation from Darby, so we
Yeah,
don't know what.
I don't exactly have ale. And he pulls out a bottle from a pouch on his side and puts it on the table, and from another pouch pulls out 3 glasses.
Okay, like
And then
actual
starts
glasses
pouring
or
shots.
like cups.
Like actual glasses.
Oh, all right. And for the half gnome outside.
I'll grab one of the glasses and say, I think you have some catching up to do, and I'll walk it out to Petalin.
Okay.
Thank you, Udnar. I feel like I need it.
I'm
And it's
gonna-
not like a mug of ale, it's like an actual just shot of rum.
So just to kind of give you the atmosphere, like not only is everybody just packed, asses to elbows in this ruined husk of a tavern. But most people have an understanding that Pedalin, Udinar, and Egg are the ones responsible for this, and so there is just a
Glares.
very uncomfortable air. Yeah,
Sure.
like people try to just do as little, like as much as they can to not interact with the group, because to them you just caused a natural disaster that ruined what was left of the town that was already ruined.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care about people looking at me. As I hand the the glass to Pedalin, I ask, what's his deal? Just kind of like making it obvious I'm talking about the new guy.
Well, I don't know much, but apparently Egg had an older brother. He never told me about him, that's for sure.
Hmm.
I liked his hair, though. It's all windswept.
All right.
Anyway, thanks for the drink.
I just kind of look at her and go, mm-hmm. And I'm just going to, like, kind of stand with her and look down at Follower and just kind of, like, eye him up a little bit and kind of, like, look around and see the faces of the people just, like, looking at this monster. And
again, I mean, he is being actively guarded.
Yeah.
So it's like you got like 4 guys with spears just kind of sitting at the edge of the area where he's being allowed to exist.
Yeah, I feel a little bit for this monster at this point, just kind of like, I understand how he feels right now. I get it.
Hey man,
they
looks
are-
are deceiving.
They are white knuckle on those spears. And of course, at this point, Follower's just trying to figure out what the fuck's going on because he has a small amount of intelligence and
Sure.
can see that the ground is way below him, and that probably makes him uncomfortable.
It's the first time I've actually felt empathetic towards this monster.
I mean, and by this point in time, he's like I said, he's about the size of like a bulldog, so he's
Oh,
not
yeah.
tiny.
Yeah.
And he's dense.
So I'll ask Udinar what he did with Eldrick and Grills.
I mean, I guess in character I would tell you. I guess I wouldn't know the specifics of it, but I would just, like, maybe talk about some, like, spiritual stuff that you don't necessarily understand the full grasp of, and because it's all faith-based and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
It's cleric shit.
We can... Sure, cleric shit.
Like, I would describe to you it, but it just sounds like
It's just like
random words or something.
Yeah.
I mean, you might say something about cleansing the living soul inside of the gem, and
Sounds like really
Pedalin.
hippy-dippy bullshit.
well, Pedalin might have a reaction to that because she was there when that soul got put into the gem. So
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't have known that soul.
correct.
Well, I did actually have a question about that.
Okay.
The reaction being, so is the soul that's in the gem now in the afterlife, or what? How? Huh?
I mean, as much as our primitive understanding of an afterlife would be, yes.
Poor Zand, finally at rest.
Okay, actually I do have questions specifically about this. One, I don't know this soul that I helped free, or whatever. Correct? Like, I don't know Zand.
You wouldn't, but you would, like, so basically when you pull basically the skin off of the energy,
Yeah.
you would have been introduced to like baser memories, certain elements of it, because you're effectively passing the soul on to your deity, and given that you're a grave domain cleric and life and death is kind of your thing, I would say that you would have at least a passing understanding. Like you would know the creature's name, you would know that it was, humanoid, and just like a general sense of maybe its alignment.
Okay. Would I know how that soul got there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else specifically with that. So, am I just like, would my character be acting like as a conduit to help pass it on, essentially?
Not just a conduit, but like an actively kind of a last rites, but in this
Okay.
case, instead of for a body, it's a soul. So it's like you know the thing, its name, you like I said, you know its name, you know its alignment, you kind of know a little bit about it. And then like your job is literally like you pulled what the essence of the soul was and then passed it on.
Sure. Okay.
I've been thinking about the afterlife and things quite a bit lately.
Oh.
Well, I mean, you're always fiddling with that thing around your neck, and you say you're a cleric and everything, and I've had some interactions with what I might be a god myself. And
Okay.
it's making things weird for me. For everyone.
Yeah, no interaction with the god is ever that straightforward, I suppose. What interactions are these you speak of?
I'll kind of fiddle in my bag and I'll pull out the litany to Mordrak and I'll hand it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember.
I've kind of talked directly to the big man upstairs, and I'll tap the paper.
I'm gonna look at her and just say, no, you didn't. This god no longer exists.
Do I exist? Because I'm here.
No,
And
what I'm telling you is
apparently-
literally, there's only one god, and it's not this one. So I don't know what you were talking to. What did it say to you?
Well, he's the god of magic. And apparently I am a chosen soul of his. He's granted me power. And, well, I kind of made a deal with him to get more of that power. And she's kind of like uncomfortably playing with a bit of fabric on her sleeve.
I'm visibly uncomfortable. What kind of power is this you speak of?
Oh, no, nothing sinister. I mean, you've seen me use it in fights all the time. He's given me power of the cosmos.
I
Of
just
the stars
stare at you.
themselves.
You can tell I'm disturbed.
This might be a situation where Udinar feels like it would be a good time to go commune.
Yeah, no,
And,
I'm trying to think of how to get out of this conversation without being necessarily rude, because I do like peddling. But right now, she's saying some shit.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll just say, well, perhaps the gods look upon us in different ways.
Ha! You said gods, plural. That
Yeah,
means there must
perhaps.
be more than one.
Well, I know enough to know I don't know anything about that world necessarily, so I suppose, you know what? I need to go meditate for a little bit.
Oh, okay. I need that back though, and I point at the litany.
Yeah, I'll hurriedly give it back like I don't want to see that shit.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna politely, but you can tell like there's a briskness in
Yes,
how I
a
step away.
sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe I'll leave it there for the other
Okay.
two.
Sure.
Oh,
I mean, think
follower.
about what you want to say or do or whatever, and you can let me know once we get back around to you. So
Yeah.
Darby and Egg,
Back at the bar.
drinking to the cold glares of many.
So Darby takes off his tricorn hat, puts it on the bar, downs a shot, says, this won't do, and then grabs the glass out of Egg's hand and just kind of splashes it off to the side. I'm sure there are people there, but.
Yes.
And then rifles through his bag and pulls out another bottle. Says, this is the right stuff. Dwarven. And then pours 2 new glasses.
Is it dwarven rum?
I just have it as dwarven liquor.
Oh, okay. So then this is something that I can introduce because I actually know of something that would work for this. Would Darby have opened this before? Has he ever seen it?
Yeah, it's not a brand new bottle.
Okay, so
it's one he keeps for special occasions, though.
It is a thick, viscous, tar-like liquid that pours out and would smell immediately of cinnamon and burning.
Oh, burning, my favorite flavor.
And so this, I won't tell you the name because I don't think Darby would even know the proper name of what this is. But it is a dwarven rot gut. So when you drink it, it's basically like drinking liquid peppers and licorice. It is a disgusting combination of flavor, but it is a kick in the gut. Anybody who ever felt that they were manly because of how they were able to drink 200 proof Everclear or whatever, that's what this stuff is. This is like 80% alcohol.
And that hits the spot.
Throat because of that sticky tar.
So Peter, where have you been?
I don't even know. I can't believe you found me. I don't even know where I am.
The last thing I remember is coming home and the house was gone and you were gone. What happened?
I was kidnapped and enslaved on a ship for years.
I know that much. I hunted those assholes down for years.
Yeah, they're all dead. It's fine. Well, except the witch.
What witch?
The witch who killed all of them. I don't know her name. Hunted her down once after that, and it resulted in everyone dying again, so I'm kind of off that.
Darby's gonna lean in close to Egg. If you want her dead, we can make sure she's dead. And then leans back. But first, we need a ship.
Oh, God.
What do you mean, oh, God?
So, I had some bad times on a ship.
Haven't we all?
I'm really not.
It doesn't really do water.
I have episodes around ships and ghosts and water because of the witch. It's bad times. Everyone died, as I said.
Well, you know your way around a ship. We just need to work on it.
Sure. It takes a drink.
Come now, after 20 years of looking for you, surely you can be more cheery about heading back home.
Home was like 3 lifetimes ago. Also, Did you say it was gone?
I came back to some ruins.
That sounds bad. But I can't even begin to imagine what necessarily happened.
It's in the past now. All that
That's
matters is I
true.
found you.
I can't believe
It'd
you
be-
found me.
It'd be around this point that the secondary effects of the dwarven rot gut would start to show itself. The whites of your eyes will turn black, and every once in a while you'll belch, and it tastes like battery acid.
The burning lets me know I'm still alive.
Mm. You're not far off from its intended purpose.
Well, we'll figure things out as we go. I'll get a ship one way or another. We'll figure out what's going on with you.
Yeah. Don't get a ghost ship, though. Those are scary. Egg takes another big drink.
Egg, this might be your opportunity to kind of mention what you're working on, since he's talking about taking you home.
I don't. Yeah. So, yeah. I think we'll sort of start talking about his current situation with being a relic hunter and his party he's traveling with, and how he can't, he has responsibilities to his friends that he's not willing to just give up immediately. Not saying he's not unwilling to go home eventually, but other things are
the
precedent.
last 4 months you guys have had an almost
Yeah, and
singular
also
focus.
we need to figure out what happened with Spira, because we may have done a thing, and we need to figure out what it is. The giant island or living city we might have summoned. So need to figure out
you
what
mean
that
that
is.
thing on the crab? And then Darby just takes another drink.
Is there a crab?
Oh, monstrous one. Carrying something on its back. That's why I ended up here. Knocked me right off my ship, and that captain with the smelly dog ended up pulling me out of the water.
If Spira was a crab this whole time, I'm going to be very crabby.
Oh,
Egg takes another drink.
Well, no matter. I understand that you have some things to do, but I'm coming with you. There's no way in hell I'm letting you out of my sight again.
That's fine.
Aw.
You should meet Follower. He's a good boy.
Follower, that thing outside that's following you?
Yes. He gets very hungry.
Give me an int check, Darby. Never seen one before.
Well, I don't know what the hell it is, but so long as it doesn't bite me, we don't have a problem.
He's great. You'll love him. Everybody loves him. Me, Petalin, everybody.
Is Petalin the one with the eye?
Yes, it's cursed.
Explains a bit.
There's a demon that lives inside it. Tries to kill us occasionally. It's fine. Takes another drink. And the tall one is Udonar. We found
Give
him
me
trapped in a
moment.
dungeon.
Just ignoring the Udinar thing. Yeah, he picks up his hat and then walks outside to where Petalin is.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like sitting on the floor with Follower?
Yes, and I am smoking my pipe of tobacco and blowing rings.
Okay. So he'll like Slav squat next to her,
Oh, hello.
and then pop out that rum bottle from before and refill the glass.
Ah, thank you.
That
You'll
eye.
notice that Darby's eyes, the whites of his eyes, are pitch black.
Whoa. So now who's got weird eyes?
That eye. Does it?
I?
Do you hear voices from it?
Voices? No. Laughter? Yes.
Feelings, yes.
Intense, malicious hatred? Absolutely.
I feel that.
But never voices. So, for the most part, I can keep it under control.
Hmm.
Why do you ask?
Well, I'm no stranger to voices, and he'll plop the bottle down and walk back in.
What? Fine. More rum for me, I suppose.
And then go rejoin Egg at the bar.
Hold on, I'm trying to think here. I actually need to make a check with something.
Egg starts talking about when the demon came out of the eye and tried to kill us the first time.
Did you guys see that?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that would pop up or not. Okay. So the entire time that Darby is there, follower is like sniffing the air almost uncomfortably and like pacing behind Pedalin, and maybe lets out a couple of low growls, but otherwise is that doesn't do anything else.
Once he leaves, I try to calm him down.
I mean, make an animal handling check. Due to his familiarity with you, he is easier to calm, but he's still very cautiously like sniffing at the air, like something's bothering him. So he might let out a couple of low whines. Anyhow,
Back in the bar.
I think it'll just be kind of general catch up,
Mhm.
knowing that
Okay.
that Egg's not particularly keen on leaving immediately.
okay.
Darby
I
has
just want to
committed
make
to
sure
stay
that
with the group.
if there's anything anybody wanted to say, this is opportunity to go ahead and say it.
I'm gonna go
Um,
ahead and feed follower 2 of my rations to make sure that he doesn't nip at anybody.
He isn't interested in eating right now.
Oh, poor baby.
Anybody else have anything that they want before I move us on?
We're all gonna commune.
Yeah. So I walked away. I'm gonna go to a place where there's not like people back to back somewhere. Maybe in the ruins still. It doesn't really matter where, honestly. And just kind of like sit there and just kind of like look at the holy symbol, start like slowly spinning it with like one finger, and just like close my eyes and just see if I feel anything.
So after making your way across what remains of the bridges of Treetop, which isn't many, you do eventually find yourself in the burned out husk of what looks to have been a shop at one point in time. After a cursory glance around, you know that there's nobody nearby, but just due to the sheer number of deaths in the area, you can sense the presence of the undead. Um, with no Death Singer.
Mhm.
But feeling sufficiently alone, sure, you start to kind of like slowly spin the medallion, and each time, like each face, like it'll stop for a moment and then spin to the next one, and then spin to the next one, which to you indicates that they are all present.
Okay. Um
Is a rare occurrence where it seems as though all three are focused and alert at one time.
hmm. That seems unusual. Okay. Okay. Then I'm going to open my eyes and consciously stop it at sorry, I just got to open my notes here to make sure what the symbols were. So many notes. Okay. I'm going to stop it on the quill.
I thought so. Okay. You stop the coin on the quill, and there is a familiar yet inquisitive silence.
In my mind, I just like start talking and just say, I'm looking for your wisdom and guidance. My quest for knowledge has led me upon something that makes me uncomfortable.
The thought that appears in your mind is speak your mind. What causes this discomfort?
By your understanding, is there any other form of god or deity besides yourself?
Of course. They must exist because the god cannot be destroyed, but they are not here. We know of the old ones, and we believe there might be one that walks among you, but we are not aware of their presence.
I'll just, like, kind of with a questioning inflection, just be like, Mordrak?
You sense the recoiling at that name, just like a shudder. Like you actually, honestly, you would feel the shudder go down your spine when
Yeah.
saying it because it's reflected through them. And the voice is, "What do you know of that being?"
One of my group apparently has spoken to one named Mordrak.
The gap. Actually, no, just the gap is dot question mark.
The Gap? What?
Uh, it's I guess that's what they would refer to as like the pinhole that I had described to you.
Oh, is it kind of like they said that to me, or like that they're
Yes.
thinking and I've felt it?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just gonna like say, is Mordrak the one that walks among us?
You sense deference in the reply of no. That creature is not here, but its influence is ever felt. We owe its influence much. You owe its influence much. Your world is in the state that it's in now because of that influence. We believe that creature to be responsible for the gap.
Am I able to get any insight on how that is relayed to me? If that is a positive or negative connotation with how?
You can roll insight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll do that. Like, is it like, yeah, you can thank that piece of shit for what happened, or is it like, oh, you owe everything to that guy? That's cool, man.
It's actually a little. It's more like without giving it away, it's hard to say.
Uh-huh.
There's there's a lot of deference and respect and admiration, but at the same time there's resentment and jealousy and envy.
So a general uneasiness.
Yes.
Hmm.
Um,
How is it
they
possible
say,
that one not of my faith is able to commune with another god?
well, reasonably, what do you think that would like? How do you think that could happen?
I don't dare honestly guess. Chosen, perhaps?
It certainly seems possible that if we chose a soul, that another might have done the same. Though, again, when we came into being, the gap was insignificant, barely a trickle. And now, as you have personally seen, the River of Souls does move.
Yes. Is it
We
growing then?
believe that there is effort between this Mordrak and the other, this creature of life, trickery, and creation.
Do you dare tell me its name?
We don't know its name.
Well, then I will find it for you.
You get an overwhelming sense of appreciation, and then the presence is gone.
I open my eyes fully and just like look around and just think it's gonna be a long day tomorrow. And I'll regroup.
Did you want to spin for either the lily or wheat?
Oh, yeah, I guess I could. There is something I specifically want to. I'll spin it again and just the lily to the lily this time.
Oh, okay. Almost like a comforting touch on your shoulder is felt.
I'll say first I just don't want to screw one thing up here. I'll just first I'm going to inquire about the soul that I helped pass on, if they felt its presence.
You would know that they did. That was an active effort.
Okay. And everything's cool with that then?
I mean, yeah, everything's cool, dog. You're
Everything's
good.
cool. Okay, cool. I want to know, I'm trying to think of how to word it precisely, but I'm basically going to try to inquire about the death in this area and the Death Singer's lack of influence, and what advice they can give for what should be done for like helping the souls of this area.
So I guess more of the response you would get out of that, and just to give you a general gist of it, is that they didn't like. Ro didn't fully understand what the Death Singer was, but they had been aware of it since even before your selection,
Sure.
before you were created or chosen. And so, like, that was something that was immensely fascinating to them. It seemed to be channeling a power that was from before their existence. However, they let you know that there appears to be a focused effort from a being or multiple beings that are actively hiding themselves from the gaze of Rona Viz and the gap itself, and that they sensed that power around the time that the Death Singer winked out. They
Mm.
feel that if you were able to find the Death Singer's spirit wherever it lie, you could get a lot of answers. But they do warn you to beware the presence of that which can't be felt.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of going to describe to you that there was a brief point recently where they couldn't commune with you, and
Mm-hmm.
it was due to the actions and efforts of this group.
Right.
And so that actually comes through both the voices of of Lily and Wheat. Like there's the kind, thoughtful explanation followed with like you can feel the anger in being cut off from you. You can feel the frustration, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
A rare
Kind of
merging
a
of the two.
kind of a weird like calm, but like
Yeah, well, it's almost like two voices speaking in harmony, but
uh-huh.
one of them speaks emotionally, the other one is speaking, thoughtfully and kind.
This divide between us cannot stand. I will definitely find out what's causing it and put an end to it.
Okay, and we'll say that they kind of not quite as concisely as the quill disappears. Like these two kind of fade. Like you
Mhm.
you still feel the emotions within yourself, and like there's also that bit of comfort left behind.
Mm-hmm. Roller coaster of emotions.
Well, I mean, anytime you commune with a quill, it's like they're in, they're out. Anytime you commune with wheat, you always have that lingering emotion. And then anytime you commune with the lily, and in this case, you were communing with both lily and wheat. So like anytime you commune with lily, it's like it's almost like you just had a long talk with mom or grandma or somebody who cares. And so
Sure.
there's that sense of fulfillment there. But in
Mhm.
this case, it's also tempered with the emotional swing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna go join the others.
All right, so this would be probably a few hours later. Most people would be either well into their cups and passed out, or getting ready to sleep. So unless there's something else critical, I'm going to go ahead and pass this on to the next day. No, okay. So
All right.
everybody finds a place to rest and sleep. The evening passes as uneventfully as it can. It seems that for through whatever means, the ward of Treetop is still active and still working. But it is early in the morning at sunrise when all four members of the group are awoken by the familiar, well, not in Darby's case, but by the familiar faces of Paws and another druid, and they urge you to silence and to follow them and to come with them because the meeting is about to begin and you were promised an audience. Hearing no resistance, they will lead you to what you now see is it's almost like a little flotilla of buildings that they have gotten over near Treetop Port. The docks are floating, that kind of thing. Obviously, the docks are prepared for floods, just not of this nature. But the druids are able to kind of enhance the ability there. So as you're inside one of the floating homes, you enter and see Lena and Eldrick seated at a table. Eldrick looking well into his 50s or 60s at this point, along with Grills and a few other druids. If you have anything to say, this is your opportunity because they'll kind of turn and look at the group as you enter the building.
Darby will
How's it-
lean into Egg.
Uh-huh.
Who's the pretty lass with the red hair?
That's a long. She's two people, and she's married. I think divorced.
Rumble
I don't
really
know.
gonna hit on himself.
Right?
Trouble. That's what she is.
Trouble.
Okay. So since there's nothing else to go on, I'll go ahead and lead in. Basically, the conversation is very formal. Like as clearly Eldrick is weak and like it's a struggle to say much. The conversation between him and Lena is straight to the point. There's not a lot of emotion in it. In fact, give me insight rolls, everybody. Egg is the only person to notice this. Everybody else just sees this clean business conversation happening. But Egg, you can actually very clearly see that Lena holds a lot of care for Eldrick, just in the way she's speaking. Like she could, like based on what she's saying, she could be much more cutting. She could be much more cruel. But you can tell that she's holding back, and it's not entirely clear why. Except that you get the sense that there's definitely still some affection and admiration in the between the two of them. So the gist of the conversation goes that Lena wants to know what happened to their child, and Eldrick is clearly uncomfortable speaking about it. But Grills is the one who steps in and says that when you were chosen to become the ward and graciously sacrificed yourself to protect the village and the refugees from Twin River Valley, we weren't strong enough to do what needed to be done, and a bargain had to be struck. It cost Eldrick everything, you and his child, but we made a deal with a powerful woman who goes by the name of Nerilia. She enhanced she enhanced the treetop ward in such a way that it would do what it does now without killing you. But the cost was the child. And so the child was taken by this woman named Nerilia, and you were allowed to live in the stasis, or in the situation, or in the scenario that you were in while you were acting as the ward. The scenario where you have left the woman Lavinia Beldam, who, because of this deal, will be, she will live as long as the ward is active. As that conversation kind of goes on and reaches its natural end, like she wants to know a little bit more about Nerilia, but it's explained that she was just this mysterious enigma of a person who showed up. Grills looks like he knows a little bit more than he's letting on, but he's doing a good job of keeping it covered. So Egg and Petalin would pick up on that he's definitely got a little bit more than he's letting on. Once that conversation kind of reaches its natural end, they talk a little bit more about Spira, and you get the sense that what is going on with Eldrick might be permanent. That there may have been a flaw in the instructions left behind for them, but that there have been reports from fishermen that the city has been spotted and that it should be here soon, maybe within the day. And they want to make sure that everybody is prepared for the eventuality of Spira's arrival and the return of Spira. And so the druids are actually sending out runners to all of the villages and towns within the area. They also mention that there appears to be a large contingent of obviously the situation between the orcs and the giants is coming to a head. The giants are actually making significant headway recently in their advances into the orcish territory. Pull my map up. Where did it go? Nope, that's not it. Used to be in this folder, but now it's gone. Is it in Roll20 stuff? Oh, son of a bitch.
While you look for it, can Darby pipe up
Yeah,
while they're
sure.
talking about Spira on its way?
Yeah. Like pipe up to the group or pipe up to everybody?
Pipe up to everybody, mostly directed at the people on the other side of the table.
I mean, you guys are kind of like sitting on chairs against the wall while the core group. You've just been granted an audience as to what's going on.
Mhm.
But yeah, you can absolutely speak up.
So it was you lot who brought that thing out of the water.
They all kind of turn and look at you and then look at
The
each other.
the new person.
Yeah. And they look at actually, I don't know who would I guess they would look at all three of you. You guys don't really have a clear like leader. It would have been Beldum. And so they're gonna look at Egg and Petalin and Udinar and say, "Who is this?"
It doesn't matter who I am. You all owe me a ship.
How's that now?
Their stupid city came out of the water on a crab, and that thing destroyed my ship. I want a new ship.
Many ships and more were destroyed in the summoning of Spira, but it was all a necessary sacrifice to bring a city back to the region. Don't exactly have the means of springing you a ship out of nothing. And you should be aware that the three you're sitting with are equally responsible in this regard.
That's true.
Well,
We also did
actually,
this.
we didn't know it was on a crab
That is
or
also
that it
true.
would cause a giant tidal wave. You just so happened to leave all of that information out.
Weren't positive of how that was going to happen ourselves. Where the hell is my map? Susanna, did you email that to me? Or did you send it to me on Discord?
The Nightfall map?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe email? Let me look.
Oh, I think I found it.
Okay.
I did find it. So anyway, as they were
Mhm.
speaking before, actually, you know what? We'll finish this and then I'll continue. So yeah, so they're like these three are equally responsible. They mentions like, you know, we had no idea the conditions under which Spiro would return. The last time Spiro was even seen was on the south side of the continent. Honestly, nobody here is alive that was, or nobody alive here was even alive the last time Spiro was in effort alive.
Mhm.
So none of us knew what was going to happen.
Aye, that's
But-
fine and dandy, but I want a ship. And then he'll sit back down.
Grills is going to look up and kind of eyeball Darby coolly and say, "There are many trees outside. I can find you an axe if you'd like to set to it." No. Well, on to business. They'll talk about how the giants have actually pushed from outside of the mountains. They have pushed the orcs back to where they are largely hemmed in to Deadwood Cape and White Cove Village, and that mountain range. But they are nested in those mountains like an infestation. They mentioned that several of like more than a couple of druids have seen out in the Cape itself what appear to be defecting parties of orcs, leaving in droves for some reason. But that like all of this is going on, and so they believe that it, you know, with Spira's return, it might be prudent to go and see if they can't take back over there, or at least find some peaceful resolution with the inhabitants. Because between Moonfall Township, Deadwood Cape, and while Treetop was supposed to become a township, they believe that everything should be set up perfectly for Spira's return. But that's really the gist of it. So if there are any questions, comments, concerns, this is your opportunity.
I would like to ask about: are people gonna be living on Spira? What's the populous situation relationship with this living city, this
Based
crab
on
town?
based on the history that we understand, the city is built upon the back of a large living creature, which your companion here is calling a crab. Um, and there is a protective field of sorts that allows those within to survive, even being submerged. And it is our belief that the city has been likely submerged all this time, and so we can only hope that the inhabitants will fondly remember their duties and responsibilities, and thus be eager to return to their state as acting city.
I see. So you don't know who's on there. Got it.
Or if they're willing.
Well, it is the ancestral home of the dark-skinned elves that Eldrick here is descended from, at least in half.
Mm-hmm. I meant how they're going to feel about this, not like who they are as
Well,
people, not like who they are literally.
it was Spira, as you may or may not know, that pioneered the very methods through which you have gained your profession of finding old world pre-sundering relics and using them to act as wards and protections from the wild world that we live in.
That's
Well, at the
interesting.
very least, we might learn something from them.
Yeah. Just saying,
So
you
as
guys seem to be going in not nearly as quite as knowledgeable as you seem to believe you are. Not looking so worse. Some of you are looking worse for wear over here. Eldrick's between Eldrick and Grills's hand.
mm,
I have some concerns. That's all I'm saying.
they all kind of speak the same sentiment of we believe the risk will be well worth it when the city is returned to its rightful place and this region is able to prosper.
I'm sure you do.
So as the meeting comes to a close, perhaps to the surprise of many there, Lena announces that she will be leaving for some time, that she has something that must be taken care of, and that she is leaving Eldrick in charge of the restoration of Treetop. But that she will return in time.
You talking a week? You talking a month? You talking years?
In time. She believes that her efforts will be critical in the restoration of the region and putting things on par with what's going on down in well, actually she doesn't know. So yeah, she just thinks, she believes that it would be critical in the restoration of the region.
You get a hint what you're up to?
These are
You're going to meet
private
someone?
affairs.
An awfully hasty retreat for the sole elder of Treetop in its time of crisis.
Private affairs that are of public import, I
We
guess.
will kind of cut her eyes over and say, you could say it is all in thanks to your companion, and she kind of gestures to herself that this is being made possible.
I'm sure it is.
But there is an offer I simply couldn't refuse.
An
Was cash
offer
money?
that you're stealing from her, perhaps?
I fail to see how it would be considered theft, given the circumstances.
Uh-huh.
That's identity theft, ma'am.
God damn it.
Darby's just sitting there cleaning under his fingernails with a dagger. He doesn't know what's going on.
We have between a day and 2 days before we expect the city itself to arrive. There will be more aftershocks and waves, we anticipate, just based off of what we've seen. We have done our best to abate the damage, and with another day's worth of work, we will soon be able to move the people from the ruins of Treetop proper back down here to the port and begin our efforts of rebuilding. So for the four of you, and Girls turns and kind of gestures broadly with his stump and arm and says, your part in this will not go unrecognized. As such, we are granting you first rights to landfall on the great city of Spira.
Oh, snap.
First rights, or to test the waters to make sure it's safe?
The interpretation is up to you, but if the city has been gone as long as we believe it has, there may be great spoils, and perhaps
And
you
great
might
danger.
finally find. Perhaps you might finally find the way home that you were looking for when you first came to me.
And who will watch Follower?
The beast will surely travel with you, no?
You expect me to take him into a city? If they're anything like you, I imagine that they would find his looks deceiving and also not like him.
What?
That's
Who doesn't like
it-
follower? Everybody likes follower.
I know, right?
That seems to be a burden that you've brought unto yourself. If you insist on keeping the beast, then it will be your responsibility in ensuring his relative safety and or status. Additionally, with whatever you find in Spira, it would be always appreciated if you would like to continue your careers as artifactors here on Nightfall, as there are many villages and towns that could surely use the assistance.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in.
You mentioned other ships being wrecked by Spear's resurgence.
Of course. Pretty much everything on the northern coastline.
Do you know where any of those people wound up?
Those that we have found at sea, we have returned here or to Red Shore Village.
Okay.
How is Red Shore Village?
The last I heard, which was not, I guess it would have been very recent. The village was hit quite hard, but has survived.
Okay.
Well, we should probably make preparations then.
Yeah.
And how do you intend to go about doing that?
How do you suggest we intend on going about that?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
What preparations are you intending to make? That's what I want to know. Like, what do you think you're preparing for?
Well, I want to know if they expect us to treat with the people of Spira should we find any on their behalf and remind them of their responsibility to the small towns around here, or if we can just go in and do our own thing.
You're independent factors. You have no direct allegiance to any of us. So whether or not you choose to act on behalf of Treetop, based off the actions and efforts that you've put in here, is up to you.
We should have a discussion as a group, probably.
Agreed.
Yeah. Sea Grills.
If there's nothing else for us, just holler when it gets here, I suppose.
Yeah. Kind of bids you each a fond farewell and goes back to looking over some of the texts that he was looking at when you arrived.
As I'm walking out the door. Still want my ship.
Okay. So if we're going to do this and like meet up with people that haven't been seen, like, Jesus Christ, how the fuck do you even go about this? First of all, are we trying diplomacy, or are we just gonna like walk on there like nothing happened, or like what are we doing here?
I mean,
Say there's a welcoming
Probably.
party with
yeah.
a
At
bunch
the
of
gate,
bows
get
at
there.
us and a bunch of spheres. What's the plan?
Say hi.
Okay, then
How's it going?
what do spear people speak? Are we able to converse?
I mean, we have that helm,
That only lets us read, not speak.
so we asked for a note.
Perhaps there is something I can do about the
Just to
speaking
clarify
part.
on the magic item, since we have used it, it allows you to understand the language being spoken, but you cannot speak it back.
Yeah. For the
Okay.
duration, you understand the literal meaning of any spoken language that you hear. You also understand any written language that you see, but must be touching the surface on which the words are written.
Mhm.
It doesn't decode secret messages, blah, 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 blah.
Right. I might still be able to help here. Let me just read a spell over.
I think we could probably. I mean, think about it. Assume that there's people still living in
Yep.
the city. They've been living on the back of supposedly a giant crab for Lord only knows how long.
I
They see us
can definitely help.
sauntering in. They see us sauntering into the town. They see me sauntering into this town. They're gonna freak out.
What's wrong with you?
Look at me, Egg.
This is about your eye again?
Yes, Egg. It's about my eye.
It's fine.
Have you considered an eye patch?
No, I like to see with both my eyes, thank you.
Ah, so it still
Also-
works.
Well, yeah, it still works. Anyway,
Egg whispers. It bored out her other eye.
Touchy subject, I can see.
have you ever had your eyeball scooped out of your own skull?
No, but I've done it to someone else.
Oh,
So you
Well,
can
that was a-
empathize.
yeah.
Sometimes you need answers.
Well, I got no response to that. What's the plan?
Okay, if
We-
I can help with the speaking part.
Okay, so assuming there's people.
Assuming
try
there's people.
diplomacy. Assuming there's people, we try to. Assuming
Yeah.
there's not people, we go in and find some shiny things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, if there's people, we have to find out what they want, who like their motivations, what they care about.
Well,
'Cause
they're probably not going to care too much about the villages around here, I would think.
Hmm.
But who knows? Maybe they would.
maybe they'll be noble. Maybe they'll
Maybe.
be monster people who want to eat us. I don't know.
Seems
We'll see when we
unlikely
see.
a civilization of monsters that eat people would live for thousands of years on the back of a crab.
I mean, they might just be biding their time.
Hmm.
They might have just gotten in their heads. What if we ate people though, and just like worked themselves up about how good it would be, without ever actually having experienced it?
And then
You don't
now
know.
they have the
You don't know their
opportunity.
life. You don't know their
Hmm.
dreams.
And if this goes bad, I'm going to look over at Isaac and say, "You're good with a blade, yes?"
I mean, I have other methods, but I'm no stranger to the blade.
Do you need
I'll
an
just-
axe?
Do you just
Oh,
start
you're s-
pulling out like different weapons?
I
pull out
got
a
whatever
great
you
axe
need.
and a battle axe.
What do you need? What do you like?
Do you need
What
something?
are you buying?
Got stuff?
I think I'll be all right. And he taps the 2 cutlasses he has on his waist.
We have a chain axe. Nobody's using that thing. Egg puts his axes away.
Defeated.
Can I pull Egg to the side for a minute?
Sure.
So, I was originally hoping to get you home as quickly as possible, but if I'm going to be sticking around for some time, I need to make you aware that the time may come, I don't know when, but I will need some magic items for reasons I can't really get into at the moment. So,
Like good magic items or any magic items?
depends on the appetite. But be aware we must be willing to sacrifice some sometime down the line.
All right.
I'm going to see if I overhear anything.
That's phenomenally rolled. So I think yes.
What part?
I mean,
Probably all of it.
yeah.
That looks like a 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like traditionally to overhear a whispered conversation, or in 3.5 anyway, it was a 25 DC. I think it's only like a 20 in 5th edition. So I'd say you probably heard all of it.
Okay. I don't make any, like, tell that
Indication.
I'm... Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Egg will say, you probably can't take the eye. It's cursed, you know. Doesn't come out.
May be a way to get rid of it, though.
It's kind of a prison for a demon or something. It's bad news. But I think we're stuck with it for now. We got other stuff. It's fine. Or maybe we'll find something on Spira. You never know.
Well, keep your eyes out.
So the group is going to need a ship.
Yeah.
I got axes.
Okay. Let's call that plan B.
I've got this book on dwarven carpentry.
Okay.
Anything about building boats in there?
You know what? Make a advantaged int check.
Nice.
There is indeed something about building dwarven longships.
Egg will start reading that.
Not intended for deep sea or cross sea traveling. They are great for crossing narrow channels or the occasional underground lake.
Gotcha.
Could do in a pinch.
Mhm.
So a sturdy vessel would take a team of about 10 dwarves 2 days to build.
May I suggest that we look up and down the coast a little bit for maybe a washed up ship or something that was abandoned after the tidal wave?
I don't know that I want a boat that sank. But
Surely
okay.
your woodworking skills could repair it.
We can see how that fellow and his dog are doing.
Yep.
He may be interested in some coin.
That's a good idea.
That's true.
I like that one.
He does have a boat.
Agreed.
So you're going to go speak with the captain of the wet dog, is that right?
Yep.
Did I give him a name? No, I didn't. So his name is going to be... Yes. All right, let me write that down so I don't forget it. There. All right, so the group is going to go treat with the captain of the wet dog. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you guys are going to try to book passage on his ship to sail you out to the giant island, the giant living city of Spira,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yes.
Darby claims is a giant crab. Okay. Anything else that you want to do in preparation before that? Because if so, we'll just go ahead and or if not, then we'll fast forward right to it.
I'd like to work with Follower on his commands.
Follower is not in a position to be trained right now. He's way up in treetop and nervous.
Oh, I thought we were down in the port already on the flotilla.
Or even down there, he's not on solid land, so he's not happy.
Okay.
I would let you make a check at disadvantage if you want, but just be warned that if you fail by a certain amount, then he will regress.
Okay. Maybe better not to. He's
Then
an
if there's
unhappy boy.
then if there's nothing else, then whoever is going to speak with the wet dog's captain, go ahead and speak up, and we'll get that going.
I guess, like, I would ask Isaac what this giant crab looks like and if we would even be able to board it. I mean, if it broke his ship, like, if we get close to it, then what? Like, do we have, like, a way to, like, throw a grappling hook? Like, what are we looking at for trying to get up there? Since he saw it.
Let me go back to my previous notes.
Because I don't think we have anything for climbing gear, is, like, basically what I'm getting at, if we need it.
Good thinking.
Because none of us can, like, levitate, right? That only
No.
one person could, and he's long since gone. I guess we could, like, try water walking? Like, I'm just trying to think logistically how we would even get on a giant crab.
Well, we had a lot of rope at one point.
I have more rope.
Like, could I toss Petalin hard enough to get her up somewhere where she could haul us or something?
I don't think Helen's
You
ever going to be
think-
able to haul you up.
I could never haul anything.
Toss me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll explain that it was Not the crab directly that sunk the ship, but it rising out from the water, like
Okay.
displaces the ocean enough that
It created
it
like a
conked over
vortex
the
or
ship.
something.
Not even a vortex, just like the sheer size of it emerging from the water.
Mm-hmm. Is it high above the water level then now, or is it kind of like flat on the water?
I don't know that he would have gotten a good enough look to give you a confident answer to that question.
Okay.
Like this thing comes out of the water, summons a tidal wave that's as tall as it is, or 200 feet tall off the top of the water, and then you don't really have much time to study the giant crab while you try to figure out how the fuck you're gonna survive.
Sure. We should get some climbing gear somewhere if we can. Just in case.
We have
So-
one grappling hook
Oh,
I
do
would
we?
say
Oh,
Spira maybe
okay.
has some
In the-
rope,
in the
but
pit. Yeah.
most of their supplies are going to the rebuild right now.
Wait, you do have a lot of axes, right?
I have 2 axes.
If worse comes to worse, we could use them like ice picks or something, just climb using axes, I guess.
I don't know that would work on a crab exoskeleton, but
I mean, there's one way to find out, right?
Well, at the very least, what we can do is use the grappling hook and just go up one by one or something.
Sure. Yep. Okay. Sounds good to me. As long as we have like something we could at least climb or whatever in case we need it, I'm fine.
yeah.
We do also know that 2 people can stay in the pit at one time for
Okay.
a couple of minutes at least.
Yeah.
I think there's 10 minutes of oxygen, so 2 people means there's 5 minutes of
5
oxygen.
minutes, yeah. It's like we did
Yep.
with the corpse collectors.
Yep.
Are you guys just discussing this plan out in the open?
And was Udinar there for the corpse collectors?
Udinar was, because
Oh,
that was
okay.
after the
I was in
library.
it. I was in the thing because I have a
Ah.
disadvantage on stealth.
I couldn't remember if that was Udinar or Thame.
Yep, that was me.
And all he had was like candles for light.
Yep.
That was
Okay.
fun.
And yeah, I mean,
So-
I wouldn't hide our discussion from anybody because like
Mhm.
input is good.
And he said that he's coming with us, so
What are you talking about, a pit and people breathing in it?
Oh, that part. Yeah, I'll let you explain that.
me?
Whoever. Who has
We
the
have a-
pit?
I do,
I
I
do.
think. Oh, you do? I give it to you?
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
Well, I mean, you did have. I gave it to you in the cave, and then you gave it back.
Okay.
It better be in somebody's inventory, because if it was in Lavinia's, it's gone.
No, it's
No,
in
we
my
didn't.
inventory.
Yeah, we made
Okay.
sure she didn't have it.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like there's a plan. Go, like you guys have your backup plan. I mean, you can get. I'd say you could probably the town could probably spare 200 feet of rope, and maybe some rations and supplies, like basic supplies. But anything focused, they're probably gonna need for the rebuild.
Mhm.
All right, I will add 200 feet of rope to our inventory.
And I have an extra 200 feet of rope on me from my solo adventure.
Mhm.
So we've got like a good 500 of.
Well,
Just-
Due to the crisis, the cost is a little bit more for the rope. So it would be 2 gold per 50 feet instead of the usual 1.
So what? That's like 8 gold.
Yes.
All right, I'll pay that.
Okay. So, to the captain of the Wet Dog. Is that right?
Yes.
So who's going?
Darby has some relation with him.
Yeah, I think
Egg will
Darby
go.
definitely should. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So Darby and Egg?
Yeah.
All right. So Darby and Egg make their way to the makeshift temporary docks where there are 4 ships that are currently anchored and moored. You spot the Wet Dog pretty quickly just because of the state that it's in. It is beat to pieces, but it was beat to pieces before the tidal wave. So it's not long before the captain calls out in recognizing Darby and gives a big hail and ho and come aboard. What can this old captain do for you?
Didn't expect to see you so soon, Captain Iron Toes, but wanted to thank you again for pulling me out of the ocean, and I will pull out a bottle of fine wine that I have and pass it over to him.
He'll grab a couple of wooden, or I guess he grabbed 3 wooden mugs, plop them onto the table, open it up, and says, I wouldn't be doing anybody any justice if I let another sailor drown when I had when I had the option to do something about it. But it appears the 2 of you come aboard with business in mind, he says, gesturing to the bottle of wine. I'm no stranger to a good bribe, so what'll it be?
We have a date with a giant crab.
His face goes visibly white. Like, oh no, not that beast. No. It'll take much more than this, Mr. Darby.
Aye, I understand, and we didn't come empty-handed. I understand that your ship could use a bit of work, so perhaps our time to help fix it up and some coin. Maybe we can seek passage for a few days.
The dog has limped into more ports than I wager the 2 of you have ever seen. So upgrades aren't exactly on the table, but coin can always be used.
Lean over to say, hey, how much you got?
Well, as a group, we've got a lot.
I mean, speaking as a player, you should use it.
Yeah. Egg pulls out
But Hagel,
50 gold.
you never pay the opening price.
Yeah. Egg takes out 50 gold as a starter to start negotiations. Get
Big
his
fat sack of 50 gold plops down
Yeah.
on the table. Captain Iron Toes kind of nudges the bag a little bit to get a sense of its weight and looks at the both of you and says, "Aye, this would normally cover passage for the dog and then some, but you seem to be forgetting that you're asking me to sail towards what I imagine is certain death and doom. There is a level of hazard involved there."
Darby
Egg
will
pulls out.
plop down 100 gold.
That's awfully generous of you, Mr. Darby, and the bottle of wine as well. Now, that dwarven brew that you have, put that on the table, and you promise me any liquor you find on the island, on the beast, and we'll call it a deal.
Egg can see that Darby is like in an internal struggle because that's his like favorite bottle of booze. He begrudgingly pulls it out of his bag and puts it on the table.
Now, Nolan's Iron Toes, being a dwarf himself, is going to greedily snatch that up and waggle it and say, "Do you know what you even had here, boy?"
All I know is I like the taste.
This is Dwarven Spider Ale.
Felt like burning. It's good.
So you had some, and you're still standing. Impressive humans, the both of you. You ought to know, this, they say, is made from the belly of some of the most toxic spiders deep underneath the earth. And my people brew it up because when you're down there in the dark and you drink it, it gets their poison running through your veins. So if they strike you, you'll still live.
Good to know.
Well, I didn't use it for any of that. Just saved it for special occasions.
So you come back with some particularly interesting spirits from that big fucking beast, and maybe I'll give it back to you.
Aye, but I hear there's elves on there. Who knows, all we might find is wine.
Rumor has it that these are the dark-skinned elves, and they dabble in some interesting brews and spirits.
Well, I'll be sure to keep my nose about. I'm no
Old Nolans
stranger
is-
to good liquor.
Old Nolans is a seasoned captain. He knows where the rumors run. And if the rumors run right, you ought to find something interesting up there. But
Probably
it
just
seems we have
crab
a
ale.
deal. Once the creature appears on the horizon, you come here and we'll set sail. Just the two of you?
We have two others and some creature they carry around.
Oh no. You see, this is a fine payment for your passage. But I'm afraid if you're adding more passengers, the price does go up. And a beast, you say? Is it a friendly beast?
Very friendly.
I see. Well, we'll determine the price for the beast once I see it. Am I to assume it is coming with you?
Probably.
Then bring the beast here and double the amount that's on the table here, and we'll call it even.
Oof.
All right. Egg plops down another 150.
Jesus, I'm just carrying it on you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We
Not
knew
afraid
we
of
were going
mugging.
to negotiate, I assume.
Yeah. He whistles for his dog and says, "Oh, this'll do well for us. Assuming we don't die to the big beast." 'Cause I'll
Yeah.
see you in a day or so.
Dying would be bad.
Don't forget to bring the mongrel by.
Yeah. Will do.
All right, well, finish our drinks and be on our way back to the group.
Okay, you meet back up with the group somewhere out on the floating docks.
How'd it go?
Well-
Went pretty well.
Lost
He
my
agreed.
favorite bottle of liquor.
Also, he
Dropped
wants
it?
to meet follower.
He wants to meet follower?
Well, if we're gonna bring him with us.
I see. Okay. He
He's okay
knows
with follower
what
being on his boat.
he knows what follower is. Yes.
Well, he hasn't seen him yet. He'll love him. It's fine.
Maybe he doesn't have to see him. And
Oh
then-
boy.
Don't know what that means.
Well, I want to try something.
Oh boy.
I want to try casting silent image around follower and make it move when he moves so that he now looks like an actual dog.
Hmm.
Okay.
Of a dog of appropriate size and shape.
Right. No, I understand. Okay, now you know that only lasts 10 minutes, right?
Right. Just long enough to get him on the boat and in the hold.
That.
Oh
Bad.
man.
I don't like this
So
idea.
so Petalum
Also-
casts her silent image.
Also,
And-
as out of character, I can cast this without expending a spell slot,
Mm-hmm.
so I can, cast it whenever we need to on the boat.
How heavy is follower?
Probably about 150 pounds.
Okay, it's not too bad.
Aye, that's all well and good, but should we be deceiving a man we're trying to hire?
I think I might be in agreement with him.
Yeah, not into lying to the man.
The problem is I think we'll be refused passage with him. There's no way he gets on that ship, I don't think.
Well, I suppose we could always come back for him. I mean, it's not like we're staying on Spira.
Record scratch to our next 20 sessions being on Spira.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about the idea of leaving him alone on an island or like on the land where everyone wants it dead. Unless you
Yeah.
like don't mind it dying, because it might.
Oh no, I would absolutely mind. But
Yeah,
it's
I don't-
either we
don't think
try to
it's
deceive the
safe.
captain or we leave him behind, because I very seriously doubt that the captain's going to allow us to bring him on the boat.
He'll love him. He just needs to get to know him.
Okay, if you say so.
In character, I say so. Out of character, I don't.
No, like of course he's not. It's a
In
literal
character, I
monster.
guess. In character, I guess everybody loves Follower. Follower's great.
You know what?
Why
I'm
wouldn't
actually
anyone like Follower.
I'm actually more okay with the deception. Because then when we're on the sea, like, oh well, like we'll get him off your hair as soon as we get to Spear anyway.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to be able to throw all four of us overboard.
Well,
But then there's the return trip.
We'll get him in the
yeah.
boat.
Yeah, it's that easy. If we
I'll
must
just
take
hold
him,
the
lying to
follower.
people.
And throw a blanket over him.
yeah, no, if we must take him, then I think your plan is the best we have.
I'm all for lying for people, but you do not mess with a man in his ship.
Yeah, what happens if he tries to pet the dog? He sees through your illusion.
Yeah.
Or your pet attempts to eat his dog.
Yeah, see, I'm worried about that too, honestly. That's actually the part I'm more worried about.
It's fine. Follower is not hungry when he's scared.
You could also remember that the dog is going to be able to smell that follower is not a dog
Oh, that's also
and will probably
The-
avoid him.
the dog freaking out is actually that is gonna happen.
We've already had one dog death in this campaign.
I really am gonna be distraught if we lose follower. So decision time
look at
right
what
now.
he's gonna grow into, though.
I know he's gonna be so badass when he's bigger.
It's
I
so
know!
cute.
What a good boy! He's just hungry.
We could possibly wet the wheels with more coin. How much more do you have?
That's actually
Let
a
us
good
work.
question.
Let us worry about how much we have.
I mean, as players, let's worry right now. How much actually do we have? Do we know?
As players,
It's probably still like
346
over
pounds.
10K.
we have like a lot.
Okay, you didn't lose any in that weird time-space
No.
continuum anti-magic
No,
bullshit that you guys did?
No, we picked it all up.
We picked
Okay.
it all up.
Okay.
Because I mean, a good chunk of that was in chests, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We still have 346.78 pounds of.
I feel like I have to ask
50
this.
gold coins is 1 pound.
I feel like I have to
Sorry?
ask this question. Why are we just not buying our own ship? Or is it just
I
we
don't
can't
think
find
there's
one?
a ship to buy.
Why don't we buy this captain's ship and his whole crew? If we have literally that much money.
He is the crew.
Oh.
I think if
Okay,
I
fair.
think if we're gonna buy a boat, we should buy a nicer boat than the Wet Dog.
I trust that guy. I trust his ship because it looks like shit.
Aren't you the one afraid of sailing?
Yeah, why aren't you terrified of this whole endeavor?
Oh, once we get on there, I'm gonna be a mess. But
No, I'm prepared for that. We'll be okay.
Just gonna get drunk as shit in the hold and
Okay. Like, I guess
All
just like as a group, is there if Rumble's character actually wants a ship and we have enough money to just buy one,
I'm
Does-
okay with just buying one.
does it not logically say like make sense that we would at least talk to this guy and instead of hiring him, say we want to hire him forever?
How much do you have?
That's why I want to know.
How much was a pound worth of gold?
50 gold.
50 gold is a pound. So let me bring out my calculator here.
And this is counting the 300 that you just dropped off.
Mhm.
Like that's gone.
In the hold, in the pit alone.
Like the money that was there didn't come out of the pit.
No, that was in.
No, that was just on my
that was on
okay.
his person.
Really?
Okay.
Holy
on
shit.
on Darby. Yeah.
In the pit, we have 17,339 gold, and that's not including the silver and the copper that we have.
Then technically, yes, you could buy a ship.
But then we have to pay docking fees and security
Oh Lord,
fees.
I know, right?
It's the fees, man.
It's the insurance
how they
that
get
gets
ya.
you. Yep.
I don't know that that's particularly relevant in this instance, given that not a lot of government.
I'm just like bringing it up as that would be the logical thing to help Rumble's character help us in this situation.
Mhm.
Like, why wouldn't we just
Sure.
buy it? Is there a
I did mention
character
there were
among
other
us
ships.
that's like, yo, I want to hoard all of this, so that's why I won't let it go? Because I think we all seem to be pretty okay with spending it.
With having follower, I want to be able to have a boat where he's going to be safe.
Honestly, the
to take
reason
with
why
us.
I haven't even brought this up before is because A, we didn't need it, but B, because Egg it was so adamantly against the idea of ever being on a ship, I didn't want to push
Right.
it.
Exactly. But if he's okay with being on a boat because his brother is here,
I don't think he's okay with it. I think he's gonna have a massive freak out. I think he's
Wait,
trying to
Egg.
play a little tough.
well, I guess it's up to Egg then. Like, whether or not he's comfortable with the group buying a boat.
Hoping for the one and done. Not
Yes.
We are saddled with this boat forever that I now have to live on.
I mean, that's why I bring it up too, because if your character would
Yeah.
feel that, that's an argument to be made, for sure.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
he's not
if
into
we
the
have
idea
enough
of
money
buying
to
a boat. He's more into renting one.
if we have enough money to buy a boat, I'm sure we have enough money to pay this guy enough to let follower on the boat.
That's fair. Okay.
But may I suggest that we negotiate a little bit and not give him all 17,000? Can we try to get away with like a more reasonable number?
So like
So-
out of character, I don't think Darby should even know we have that much because he'll just suggest
Yeah,
we should
no.
buy a boat. For me,
Right. No, this is all out of character stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously.
So what I would like to know is who's going to handle the negotiating and what style of negotiating are they going to do?
Oof. I mean, I'm straight up not good with negotiation stuff, so I'm gonna count myself out.
I can either
Darby's
try.
the sweet talker.
I can be there to read the room.
Yes,
I'm pretty insightful.
I can try to deceive or persuade, but
It sounds like Darby is volunteering.
I mean, it sounds like Darby's.
But Darby
Capable.
doesn't know how much you're willing to spend
Yeah.
to get your animal on this
Yeah.
boat.
Oof.
So
Yeah,
And
he
Darby
doesn't-
doesn't know how
doesn't,
dangerous this thing actually is.
well, Darby, not knowing how dangerous it is,
It works in his favor,
Okay.
honestly.
yeah, it works in his favor. He's be like, I've never seen it harm a living thing, and it would be the truth.
So do I hear Darby is the negotiator?
And I'll help.
Okay.
So
Are we
then you
all
can
going? I
have
guess we're
Vic-
all going, right?
I think we should all
I mean,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's there. I just wanted to know who's negotiating.
Mhm.
So I mean, obviously, Captain Iron Toes is going to recoil physically and say, "Oh, by the depths, no. by no means is that creature coming aboard."
Darby, take a guidance.
But thanks. He's so nice, he's lovable, and like holds him up to the
That
captain.
he's gonna like shield himself and step back and say, "I'd kindly appreciate it if you didn't threaten me with your monster, there, boy."
He's a good boy. Just gotta get to know him.
He is a good
I'd-
boy. He's never hurt anyone.
I'm gonna
Your
cast
factors
that on
are-
him.
Okay, let me. Calm emotion. Calm emotions. Fresh, strong emotions that repeatedly treatment of those. Expressing effect comes up being charmed or frightened. Okay, sure. So I mean, he's less shaken by it, but he still knows what it is.
Sure. Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's not coming aboard.
Surely enough coin can sway you.
Oof.
And then what, guidance? 1d4?
Yep.
31.
I'm sure that there is an amount of coin that exists in this world of ours that could persuade me, but I somehow doubt you have it in your pockets.
Name your price.
5,000 gold.
I
And
look
a
to the group
guarantee-
expectantly.
5,000 gold and a guarantee that the creature doesn't leave the cage in the hold.
That's just mean.
A cage. 5,000, and one of us will be with the creature at all times to make sure that he does nothing, but he doesn't go in the cage.
Are you gonna roll?
What? Okay, I guess I will.
Oof.
Yep. Sounds about right.
It says, no, the cage is non-negotiable. I won't put Mr. Barker in any sort of duress.
Mr. Barker.
Well, what if you stayed here?
I'm sorry?
What if you stayed here?
I
We
thought
took
Darby
it,
was
but-
the one doing the negotiation.
This is
Apparently
why
they care about the
Darby's.
pet more than Darby does, so they're just
Yeah.
piping in.
We're here.
So you're proposing that you take my ship.
We
Yeah.
bring it back.
You
Since you're
can't
so
afford the
squeamish
dog.
about our pet.
No, you can't afford the dog. If you wanted to take my ship from me, you would need to leave a piece for every penny that it's worth, and then some.
Well, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, no.
Of course, it would be returned to you upon your return, as long as my ship returned in the state that it leaves in or better.
Do any of us know how to sail? Egg, I guess.
don't.
Yeah, yes, but you know.
Yeah.
As no
I
one
know.
looks at Darby dressed like a pirate.
Yeah. Whatever a pirate is.
Yeah.
Darby, you can sail it, can't you?
Aye, I can sail. I don't have a compass, though.
I have a compass.
We should be fine then.
What?
Say we were to go that route. How much is your ship worth?
20,000 gold pieces for the ship alone. None of my charts, none of my maps.
Well,
Oof.
I guess that decides it then, doesn't it?
Yep.
All right, well, get in the cage.
Darby, you can try to haggle the price a little bit, by the way. You didn't.
I would ask
you
that
rolled
you would.
excellently.
Yeah, but Darby doesn't really have much investment in
Okay.
someone else's
Pedalin's
ship.
gonna elbow him in the ribs.
I bet that looks awkward. She's reaching up with her elbow.
I think we should do the 5,000. I mean, frankly, it might be a one-way trip for us anyway. We don't know that we're gonna survive. So,
All right.
Out of the kindness of my heart, somebody can make a persuasion roll with him.
I already made mine.
I'll do it. Persuasion.
Egg's gonna do his best job of trying to stress just how wonderful follower really is, and so in the effort, this is where I was gonna go with it anyway. But so Captain Irontoes lets you know that if the beast causes no harm, then he will refund you half of your investment on the way back. But that's the
Fair.
best he can do.
A fair as deal as any.
You'll see what a good boy he is.
You'll see what a monster can do. You know that's a shark of land, don't you?
But he's a good boy.
Yeah, it may just be a wee little bastard now, but it's only gonna get bigger, and it's only gonna get hungrier.
It's not going to grow up while we're on this trip.
That's true. I'm just cautioning you against keeping such a beast.
That's
Now
our
you
problem.
and everyone else on this goddamn. Pedalin just kind of like turns her back to him.
Mm. Very well then. I suppose that we'll shake on it, call it a deal, and well, we'll set sail as soon as the city arrives. I'm sorry, what did you say the beast's name was?
Follower.
Yes, follower. Once he's safely in the cage. Will there be any more business between us?
No, I think we're good.
Then I have some preparations to set to. Master Darby, if you'd care to join me for the evening, I could use a skilled hand.
Shouldn't be a problem.
All right, so he's gonna pull Darby aside and be like, "Are you sure about this? You know these people?"
Well, the one that looks like me is my brother, and he seems to believe it's all right.
Say no more. I understand the Kala family. The Iron Toes clan is spread to all the corners of the earth, but there's nothing like the bond of a family member calling you home. Fine, fair enough. I could absolutely use some help getting the ship set and ship shape. So if you lend me your hands, then I wouldn't mind cracking open that bottle of booze of yours and sharing some with you.
Would never decline an offer of booze.
All right, so give me a profession check.
I have a vehicle's water.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know what stat to modify with.
Oh, in this case, I think it would be dexterity.
Okay, +2 then.
So 11, that's good enough. All right, so you'll help him through the evening. He'll share some more of the spider ale with you and that dwarven spider brew nastiness. So by the time that you finish, you'll probably wander on back to your group with eyes black as night, but otherwise knowing that the ship is in surprisingly good condition despite its appearance. All right. So we're going to set sail in the morning. So if you have anything else to do during a long rest, this is your opportunity to do it. But we're also going to go ahead and take our 10 and come back at 7. Or 7 o'clock on the dot for me.
Okay, sounds good.
Do you have
Yep.
enough food for that thing?
I suppose. I suppose I could spend the evening hunting with him.
Oh,
But
so
we'd have
fishing.
to we'd have to go way out of town though.
I was going to say, in this case, I think it would be fishing.
Oh, lucky me, I happen to have fishing gear.
Neat.
All right, so buy a barrel for, well, actually, how much does a barrel cost? Four gold pieces. And we'll say that if you go ahead and make, I mean, I'll let you choose what check you want to make for your fishing.
Well, if she's going to go fishing, Darby, seeing this opportunity, is going to take Egg and take him fishing as well, because they weren't able to do it as children.
Oh my god.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Fine, I'm buying a barrel. There, barrel in the hole.
Okay. You now have a barrel. So all three of you can
Barrel.
make fishing checks. You can choose any stat you like.
Oh.
Can
You just
I
have to tell me
intimidate the fish?
You have no, but you choose. It's going to be a stat roll, but I need you to tell me how that stat works for fishing.
Hmm.
I'm going to use perception to see
So
where
that
I
would
can.
that would be
like-
wisdom. Stat, not skill.
Oh, okay. Then no,
stat.
I will use dexterity.
Okay.
I can't
So-
exactly use charisma on fish.
Technically, you can.
I'm going to use Constitution, just
All right.
being very patient.
Hey, that's perfect. So make a Constitution check at advantage, since that was a good description.
I'll use dexterity to be quick on the draw when I feel a nibble to immediately
So
yank the
hair
pull.
trigger. Okay. Go ahead. Same advantage. All right.
And I guess I wanted to use my animal handling, but I can't. I guess I will also use dexterity and try to be skillful with the fishing tackle and the line.
All right. Well, that's just going to be a regular check.
Yep.
All right. So you guys are going to get 35 pounds of fish into your barrel.
Yay!
Probably enough to feed follower a few times, actually. Maybe 2 or 3 times.
If he'll eat it.
Yeah. But all right, let's go ahead and take 10. Take these dogs out. and
One
stuff.
quick thing.
Mhm.
With the barrel full of fish, when the others aren't looking, Darby's gonna stick his hand in, and ice crystals will start forming in the water.
So you're gonna refrigerate and freeze the fish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
So
then he'll
sleight
close
of
off the
hand
barrel.
then? I think that's higher than everybody's passive perception. So, yeah. Okay. All right. 10. So looks like we'll be back at 03.
All right.
Sounds good.